What happens when a Hollywood star known for quick wit and sarcasm walks straight into a heated daytime debate and decides he's not going to play nice? Make sure to subscribe to Final Take Files, and like and comment for more talk show coverage. So picture this, the panel is already fired up. The topic on the table is celebrity responsibility, specifically whether actors should stay out of political and cultural debates. The hosts are mid-discussion, voices slightly overlapping the way they do when things get tense. One host leans forward and says, "I just think celebrities need to understand that influence comes with responsibility. You can't just joke your way out of everything." Another host cuts in, "But it's not about joking. It's about accountability. When someone with millions of followers makes light of serious issues, that has impact." The audience murmurs, some claps, some scattered agreement. Then the moderator smiles toward backstage. "Well, this is actually perfect timing because our next guest might have something to say about that. Please welcome Ryan Reynolds." The applause hits hard. Ryan walks out smiling, waving, looking relaxed in a navy blazer. He hugs the moderator, nods politely to the rest of the panel, and takes his seat. He looks at them and says, "I feel like I just walked into Thanksgiving dinner." The audience laughs immediately. One of the hosts laughs too but adds, "You might have." Ryan glances at the cards on the table. "So what are we fighting about?" The moderator jumps in. "We were just discussing whether celebrities sometimes hide behind humor instead of taking real accountability when they speak on serious issues." Ryan raises his eyebrows. "Ah, so I'm the cautionary tale today." A host quickly responds, "No, not you specifically." He tilts his head. "But also, kind of me?" Audience laughter again. One host shakes her head. "You're known for deflecting with humor. That's part of your brand." Ryan nods slowly. "Okay. First of all, I didn't know I had a brand. I thought I just had anxiety and Wi-Fi." Big laugh from the crowd. Even two hosts crack smiles. But another host isn't amused. "See, that's what I mean. You're doing it right now." Ryan leans back. "Doing what?" Turning a serious conversation into a punchline. The room shifts slightly. Audience quiets. Ryan's smile softens but stays. "Well, I think humor is how some people process serious things. It doesn't mean they're dismissing them." The host responds quickly. "But when you tweet jokes about political issues..." Ryan interrupts gently. "I don't tweet jokes about political issues. I tweet jokes about myself trying to understand political issues." Audience. Mixed reaction. Some applause. Another host jumps in. But intention and impact aren't the same. Ryan nods. "That's true. That's fair." There's a pause. It feels real. Not scripted. The moderator senses it. "Ryan, do you feel misunderstood sometimes?" He smiles. "Constantly. I have 3 daughters. I'm always misunderstood." Small laugh. Then he adds, more serious, "Look, I get the concern. I do. We live in a time where everything feels amplified. But I also think we're putting celebrities in this weird box where we expect them to be scholars, activists, role models, and somehow never mess up." The host who challenged him earlier leans forward. "But you benefit from that influence." "And I try to use it responsibly," Ryan replies. "But responsibly doesn't mean humorless." Another host interjects, "No one's asking you to be humorless." Ryan looks at her. "It kind of feels like that." Audience. Soft, "Oh." The moderator quickly says, "Okay, let's unpack that." Ryan continues, calm but sharper now. "If I speak seriously, I'm told to stay in my lane. If I use humor, I'm told I'm trivializing. So what's the acceptable tone?" Monotone PowerPoint presentation. Laughter erupts. Even the skeptical host fights a smile. She responds, "It's not about tone policing. It's about influence." Ryan nods again. "Right. And influence means sometimes you get it wrong. But I don't think mocking the idea of celebrity involvement helps either." The host blinks. "Mocking." He gestures lightly toward the table. "We started with the premise that celebrities hide behind jokes. That's a broad brush. Another host jumps in defensively. We didn't say all celebrities. Ryan smirks slightly. I heard my name in the hallway. The audience laughs loudly. One host says, "Oh, come on." He shrugs. I have very good hearing. It's how I survive marriage. Big laughter again. But the tension doesn't disappear. The skeptical host presses again. Do you ever worry that constantly joking makes it hard for people to know when you're serious? Ryan pauses longer this time. That's a fair question. The room quiets. I do worry about that, he admits. But I also think people are smarter than we give them credit for. They can tell when someone cares. The moderator nods. So you do see responsibility there. Of course, Ryan says. I'm not allergic to responsibility. I just don't think humor cancels it out. Another host says, but sometimes it feels like you're mocking the critics. Ryan tilts his head again. Sometimes critics are mockable. Gasps and laughter blend together. The moderator quickly says, okay. Ryan laughs. I'm kidding. See? That's the problem. Even the skeptical host laughs now, but she says, you're proving my point. Ryan leans forward, matching her energy. Or maybe I'm proving mine. Audience claps. Not overwhelmingly, but noticeably. The moderator tries to balance it. Let's bring this back. Ryan, what would you say to people who feel hurt or dismissed by celebrity jokes about serious topics? He nods thoughtfully. I'd say that's never the goal. And if something lands wrong, it's okay to say that. I'm not above criticism. The skeptical host replies, but do you listen to it? Ryan smiles. I'm literally sitting here. Audience applause rises louder now. The host opens her mouth to respond, but the moderator jumps in with a commercial tease. We're just getting started. When we come back, Ryan responds to the idea that Hollywood lives in a bubble, and whether he thinks this table does too. The audience reacts loudly at that tease. Ryan grins at the panel. Oh good. Now we're warmed up. The camera would normally fade here, tension lingering, smiles tight, everyone aware that what started playful is slowly becoming something sharper. And that's just the first few minutes. When they come back from break, the energy is sharper. The smiles are still there, but now they feel measured. The moderator resets the tone. We're back with Ryan Reynolds. Before the break, we were talking about celebrity influence. Now let's address something viewers constantly bring up, the idea that Hollywood lives in a bubble. A few audience members clap immediately. One host jumps in. Because it's part of this. There's a perception that celebrities are disconnected from everyday people. Ryan nods. That perception exists. The skeptical host adds, it's not just a perception. For a lot of viewers, it's real. When multimillionaires speak on serious issues, it can feel out of touch. A ripple of applause comes from one side of the crowd. Ryan folds his hands calmly. Okay. But when people say, Hollywood, who exactly are we talking about? Most actors I know are freelance workers who stress about their next paycheck. One host cuts in quickly. But you're not. Audience. Oh. Ryan smiles. No. I'm not. I'm very lucky. The moderator nods. So speak from that place. All right, Ryan says. From that place, yes, I have money. Yes, I have a platform. But I didn't grow up in a mansion. My mom worked retail. My dad was a cop. I'm not unfamiliar with regular life. The skeptical host responds, but your regular life now isn't regular. Ryan tilts his head. Define regular. Light laughter. She continues, most people aren't flying private. He grins. I don't fly private everywhere. Another host teases, just sometimes. Sometimes, Ryan admits. Usually because if I stand in an airport line, someone sells a blurry photo of my forehead. Big audience laugh. But the skeptical host presses. That's still privilege. Ryan nods. It is. I'm not denying that. But having privilege doesn't automatically disqualify your voice. Another host adds, no, but it shapes it. Of course it does, Ryan replies. Everyone's background shapes their perspective. Yours does too. There's a small shift at the table. The moderator raises an eyebrow. What are you implying? I'm not implying, Ryan says evenly. This table has influence too. This show shapes national conversations. Audience applause rises. One host responds defensively, "We're journalists." And journalists have power, Ryan says calmly. The skeptical host leans in. Are you comparing being an actor to being a journalist? I'm comparing influence, Ryan replies. Different jobs. Similar reach. The room gets quiet for a moment. Another host tries to balance it. The question is whether wealth creates distance. Ryan exhales lightly. It can. Absolutely. But it can also create access, to fund things, to amplify voices. The skeptical host says, "Do you consult experts before speaking?" Ryan smirks. I read. I listen. I ask questions. I'm not pretending to be a policy expert. She shakes her head. But sometimes you joke about serious topics. Ryan responds, "Let me ask this. If I post something serious, it gets a polite response. If I post something funny, it spreads. Which one reaches more people?" The audience murmurs in agreement. So humor is strategy, she asks. Sometimes, Ryan admits. Humor opens the door. Then you can actually say something meaningful. She counters, or it lets you avoid the meaningful part. The audience quiets again. Ryan looks directly at her. Do you think I've avoided something today? A pause. I think you've danced around it, she says carefully. Then let's not dance, Ryan replies. What exactly have I avoided? Audience reacts. Tension building. The moderator steps in softly. Let's keep it respectful. The skeptical host leans forward. Do you believe celebrities should speak on political issues? Yes, Ryan answers immediately. No joke this time. The tone shifts. Even if they're not fully informed, she presses. No one is fully informed, Ryan says. If that's the standard, nobody talks. Applause breaks out. Another host adds, but there's a difference between engaging and oversimplifying. Ryan nods. And sometimes people oversimplify. I probably have. The skeptical host raises her eyebrows. So you admit that? Of course, he says. I've tweeted things before thinking they were clear, and later realized they lacked nuance. That happens. The moderator nods approvingly. The skeptical host softens slightly. So you accept there's responsibility there? Yes, Ryan says. But responsibility doesn't mean silence. Another host says, and it doesn't mean defensiveness. Ryan glances at her. You think I'm defensive? A little, she replies. He smiles. I prefer engaged. Audience laughter breaks some tension. The moderator continues, some critics say you mock criticism instead of engaging with it. Ryan widens his eyes dramatically. Mock. Me. Big laugh from the audience. The skeptical host smiles despite herself. You can't help it. Ryan shrugs. Sometimes criticism is thoughtful. Sometimes it's someone with a cartoon avatar saying I destroyed civilization. Huge laughter. But, he adds, more grounded, thoughtful criticism? I listen to that. I don't treat every angry comment like it's a Supreme Court decision. Applause again. The skeptical host says quietly, some viewers still feel talked down to. Ryan's tone softens. That's not my goal. If that's how it lands, that matters. There's a genuine pause there. The moderator smiles slightly. That's different. Because this is a real conversation, Ryan says. The skeptical host replies, it was real before. Ryan raises an eyebrow playfully. It felt like a surprise quiz. Audience gasps and laughs at the same time. It wasn't an ambush, the moderator says quickly. Ryan grins. I walked out to applause and cross-examination. Even the skeptical host laughs openly now. But the edge is still there. The moderator glances toward the camera. When we come back, We're going to bring up a specific social media post that sparked backlash, and ask Ryan whether he regrets how he handled it. The audience reacts loudly again. Ryan leans back in his chair and exhales. Receipts. My favorite. The break music would roll right there, but everyone at the table knows the next segment isn't going to be light. The conversation has moved from general debate to something personal, and it's about to get even more direct. When they come back from break, the applause is louder but more divided. Some people are clearly on Ryan's side. Some are waiting to see how this goes. The moderator looks straight into the camera. We're back with Ryan Reynolds. Before the break, we mentioned a specific post that sparked backlash. Let's get into it. The skeptical host picks up a card. A few months ago, you posted a joke referencing a major political issue. Some people felt it minimized the seriousness of that issue. We have the post on the screen. You can feel the room tighten. Ryan turns his head slightly to glance at the monitor. He nods once. Yeah, I remember that. The host continues, the criticism wasn't about you having an opinion. It was about the tone. People said it felt flippant. Ryan keeps his expression neutral. It was satire. She responds quickly, but satire about something that was actively affecting people's lives. A small wave of applause. Ryan leans forward. Satire has always been about things affecting people's lives. Another host jumps in. But satire usually punches up. Ryan nods. It was punching up. The skeptical host shakes her head. That's debatable. Audience murmurs. The moderator steps in. Ryan, looking back at that post now, would you phrase it differently? He pauses. Not a joke pause. A real one. Maybe, he says finally. I'd probably add more context. The skeptical host doesn't let it go. Why didn't you at the time? Ryan exhales. Because social media isn't built for context. It's built for reaction. A few audience members clap. But you still chose to post it, she replies. Yes, Ryan says plainly. I did. Another host leans in. Did you expect backlash? He smiles slightly. If you post anything online, you should expect backlash. Light laughter breaks some of the tension. The skeptical host presses again. So if you expected backlash, was it worth it? Ryan looks at her directly. Yes. The audience reacts loudly, mixed applause and surprise. She blinks. Even knowing it upset people? Ryan nods. Because the intent wasn't to upset. It was to criticize something bigger. And sometimes that's uncomfortable. The moderator interjects carefully. But discomfort for who? Ryan answers without missing a beat. For everyone. The table goes quiet again. The skeptical host says, some would argue it's easier to say everyone when you're not the one directly impacted. That lands. Ryan's tone shifts, less playful now. That's fair. And I'm not claiming lived experience where I don't have it. Another host jumps in, but you still centered yourself in that conversation. Ryan raises an eyebrow. It's my account. A few laughs ripple through the audience. The skeptical host shakes her head slightly. That's not what I mean. I mean the spotlight shifts when someone like you posts. Ryan nods slowly. That's true. So is that responsible? She asks. He thinks for a second. Responsibility doesn't mean disappearing. It means being prepared to have conversations like this. The audience gives a stronger round of applause. The moderator nods. So you don't regret it? Ryan hesitates. I regret if it genuinely hurt someone who felt unseen. That's not something I enjoy. The skeptical host jumps on that. But you don't regret posting it. Ryan meets her eyes. No. The room hums again. Another host tries a different angle. Do you think your fan base sometimes shields you from valid criticism? Ryan laughs softly. Oh no. The internet does not shield me from criticism. Audience laughter. She continues, but you have loyal fans who defend everything. He shrugs. That's their choice. I don't send them instructions. The skeptical host says, but your tone influences theirs. Ryan leans back slightly. So now I'm responsible for strangers arguing in comment sections? The audience reacts with scattered laughter and claps. The moderator steps in quickly. I think the point is about influence again. Ryan nods. And I keep saying, I accept that influence exists. I just don't think the solution is sanitizing personality. The skeptical host counters, no one's asking you to sanitize. They're asking you to take things seriously. Ryan's expression tightens just a little. I do take things seriously. I just don't perform seriousness the way some people expect. That line hits. You can feel it. The audience gives a small but noticeable round of applause. Another host asks, what does perform seriousness mean to you? Ryan answers calmly. It means adopting a tone that signals virtue without necessarily adding substance. There's an audible "oh" from the audience. The skeptical host leans forward. Are you suggesting we do that here? Ryan smiles, but it's careful now. I'm suggesting that sometimes public conversations reward tone more than substance. The moderator jumps in. Okay, let's be clear. This table values substance. Ryan nods. I believe that. The skeptical host presses, but you think we're tone policing you. Ryan tilts his head. A little. The audience reacts again. She responds firmly, or we're challenging you. Ryan holds her gaze. And I'm responding. There's a beat. It's not hostile, but it's charged. Another host tries to lighten it. This is actually one of the more honest exchanges we've had. Ryan laughs. That's because no one's asking me about my workout routine. Big laugh from the crowd. But the skeptical host isn't done. Let me ask you directly. Do you think comedians and actors sometimes hide behind, it's just a joke, to avoid accountability? Ryan doesn't smile this time. Some do. The audience quiets immediately. And do you? She follows up. He shakes his head slowly. No. If something crosses a line, I'll own it. But I won't pre-censor every thought out of fear. The moderator nods thoughtfully. So it's about balance. Yes, Ryan says. And that balance isn't the same for everyone. The skeptical host sighs slightly. I just think there's a difference between clever and careless. Ryan nods. Agreed. She looks surprised. You agree? Yes, he says. And I try very hard not to be careless. There's a softer moment there. Less combative. The moderator glances at the clock. We're almost out of time. The audience groans lightly. Ryan smiles. See? Now they're on my side. Laughter breaks the tension one more time. But the moderator adds, before we go to our final break, I want to ask one more thing. If you could speak directly to viewers who felt dismissed by that post, what would you say? Ryan looks straight toward the camera now. I'd say that wasn't my intention. And if it landed that way, I'm open to hearing why. But I also believe humor and criticism can coexist. They don't cancel each other out. The audience gives a strong, steady round of applause. The skeptical host nods slowly, still thoughtful but less combative. The moderator smiles at the camera. When we come back, final thoughts from the table, and Ryan responds to whether he thinks today changed anything. Ryan leans back slightly and exhales. Oh, it changed something. The audience reacts loudly to that tease. And as the show heads into its final break, the debate doesn't feel explosive anymore. It feels unresolved. Which somehow makes it even more intense. When they come back for the final segment, the mood is calmer. Not lighter, just more measured. The applause is steady, and you can tell the audience is still thinking about what they just watched. The moderator smiles. All right, final thoughts. The skeptical host goes first. I'll say this, I appreciate that you stayed in it. I still believe tone matters. A lot. But I respect that you didn't dodge. Ryan nods. I don't mind being challenged. I just like to know I'm walking into it. Light laughter from the audience. Another host adds, I think today shows how complicated influence really is. Humor can connect, but it can also misfire. Ryan responds calmly, "That's fair. I don't want people to feel dismissed. That's never the goal." The moderator asks, "Did today change anything for you?" Ryan pauses. "It reminded me that impact hits differently face-to-face than it does online. That's important." There's a small but sincere round of applause. The skeptical host nods slightly. And maybe we all need to remember that humor isn't automatically disrespect. Ryan smirks. "Look at that. Growth." The moderator laughs. "Let's not get carried away." The audience laughs with them, and the tension finally breaks. As the show wraps, the moderator thanks Ryan. He stands, shakes hands with the hosts. The skeptical host gives him a quick hug. It's brief but genuine. But the real reaction starts immediately after. Clips hit social media within minutes. One of Ryan saying, "I don't perform seriousness," starts trending. Another of the hosts saying, "There's a difference between clever and careless," spreads just as fast. Online, people split. Some praise Ryan for standing his ground. Others say the hosts were right to push him harder. Comment sections light up. Reaction videos pop up. Debate shows pick it apart by the afternoon. Behind the scenes, there's no drama. No shouting. Just conversation. Ryan reportedly thanks the panel before leaving. Producers note how engaged the audience was, divided, but respectful. And that's how it ends. Not with a blow-up. Not with an apology. Just a real disagreement that didn't get neatly wrapped up. Now we want to hear from you. Was Ryan right that humor and responsibility can coexist? Or were the hosts right that tone can cross a line? Share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to Final Take Files for more real talk show stories.